Hey guys, it's Lord Civic, and today we will be reviewing the movie Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi in its 4K Blu-ray disc format. Again, as always, if you're interested in winning the digital copy that comes with the Blu-ray disc, please make sure to follow the instructions in the pinned comment below. With saying that, let's hop right in. So first, tech specs. This movie was shot with a variety of different cameras. Roughly half of the movie was shot in 35mm. Some sequences were actually shot in 65mm IMAX cameras, and then a lot of the CGI or VFX heavy scenes were shot with digital cameras at 2.8, 3.4, and 6.5K. The movie was then finished at a 4K digital intermediate, and honestly throughout the film, I think there was maybe only one moment when like Rey and Luke are like climbing up onto the rock. Obviously they couldn't put their leads climbing up on a rock that high, so that makes a lot of sense why that would be, I guess, VFX. And honestly, like, the best way to explain this movie is, what do you get when you mix an artsy-fartsy director, an excellent cinematographer like Steve Yedlin, and then give them a $200 million budget? Perfection from the visual and sonically. Like, this movie is literally the definition of like work of art. Detail is fantastic, not only in environments, locations, different sequences throughout the film with debris, and even like Captain Phasma's armor. It literally, if you're like a PC gamer, or like even just coming to consoles later this year, like RTX, like race tracing, literally it looks like Captain Phasma's armor has race tracing. I don't know how they do it. Like, I mean, obviously, like, work goes into it, but it's like with all the cameraman and stuff like that, and her armor being like totally reflective, it just looks absolutely gorgeous. Skin detail looks fantastic. Unlike Force Awakens, where it seems like a film grain filter was just slapped onto the picture, in this movie it's used in a nice, subtle fashion to enhance the picture and give it more of a filmic look. But it just looks absolutely gorgeous. HDR is, I know with Force Awakens, I said that was some of the best implementation of HDR I've ever seen. When I said that, I meant like maybe in like top 25. This honestly might be the best implementation of HDR I've ever seen. I know there's other movies that look really good, like Blade Runner. Well, honestly, Into the Spider-Verse is probably like up there as well with HDR implementation. But a lot of movies, when they're telling their story, especially like Joker, I raved about that movie when I reviewed it, but that movie was grounded in reality. There's only so much colors and stuff they can use while it's still keeping the theme of the film. But with Star Wars right here, they just went bombastic with the colors. I literally just look at Snoke's throne room. It literally looks like a work of art, a painting. It's fantastic. The contrast of like Snoke's bathrobe, golden bathrobe type thing, and the backdrop of the red foreground, and then as it goes, it's like light red, and then it simultaneously goes up into like the roof of the building, and it's like darker red, and then the Praetorian Guard standing in front of it. It's just like, when I said like Rian Johnson, like artsy fartsy, like he knows what colors go perfectly together to just get that reaction where you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm just looking at absolute beauty. Audio is fantastic, lightsabers clashing, even the one sequence where Force lightning is used, it all just sounds so good. The movie has, as I said, excellent detail. There's multiple scenes where, multiple scenes, a lot of the movie has a lot of close-up shots of people, and you can see every hair strand on their eyebrow. You can see, even when Luke is drinking the milk, you can see every like strand of where like the green milk is like hanging off his beard. When Kylo Ren at the beginning of the film, and then honestly periodically through the film, when they do a close-up of his face, you could see as like when the robot thing like stitches his face out together, you can see like all the scar tissue and every mole and like all the stuff he has. And like even later towards the film, when it does like those super close-up, especially during the battle between him and Luke towards the end, you can see like the discoloring of the yellow from like the scars and I guess his face trying to heal itself. There's the amazing shot towards the end of the film when Luke and Kylo Ren are fighting, and it does a close-up of Luke. You can see every mole, everything. Like I was like, okay, do I want to see that much Mark Hamill? Yes, I do, obviously, but like it looks absolutely fantastic. The Praetorian, I know I was like raving on about Snoke's room, but the Praetorian battle, the battle between Praetorian guards and then Rey and Kylo Ren looks absolutely gorgeous. At one sequence, the whole building starts to like, not building, the whole ship starts to like in that room like collapse in and stuff like that. And there's like fire erupting in the back, and then the lightsabers clashing, sparks going. There's one sequence where one of the Praetorian guards' weapons flying against the wall, and it just looks absolutely fantastic. Now, honestly, I've seen this movie multiple times. I think I saw it 5 times in a theater, and then I've seen it 12 times since it's been on 4K Blu-ray, because it's honestly like one of the best 4K Blu-ray movies out there available. And honestly, the issue that I always had was the movie doesn't have picture-perfect blacks. And I remember the reason why it didn't, because I remember Rian Johnson tweeted back when the movie like first came out on its home release that he was sitting in the room with the person helped creating the 4K Blu-ray, and when the movie released, I didn't have an OLED at the time, so I saw people tweeting about it, I saw people talking about like forums and stuff that the movie didn't have picture perfect blacks, but I didn't have an OLED at the time, so it really didn't bother me. But now that I have an OLED, every time I watch it, I was like, oh my goodness, why doesn't it have picture perfect blacks? And as I watched the film this time and I was like hyper analyzing everything, I finally realized Rian Johnson is a perfectionist when it comes to detail. And when it comes to detail, he wants you to see every single thing. Like in The Force Awakens, when I was saying it was cool when you could see Kylo Ren and then it looked like the bottom half of him like blended directly into like the bottom of the screen with the black bars going up and down. Right here, you can see everything, every stitch, everything. And I get that, like, sometimes in space, there's, like, bluish tinges. And even at the beginning of the movie, you get the picture perfect blacks, but it seems like you only periodically see it throughout the film every now and again. But I get what he's going for. And after, like, looking closely, I understand that he's an artist, and with his art, he wants every detail to be seen, nothing to be lost. So, with saying that, this movie is a technical marvel audio-wise. I would honestly match it with Rogue One. I don't even think it's a debate. This is the single-handedly best looking Star Wars film from a cinematography standpoint. Literally, when George Lucas, I guess, like, watched the movie or whatever, he literally only had like a few words to say, or I guess they let him put out to say. And the quote that was said was the movie was beautifully made. This is the most beautiful Star Wars movie today. Not only an HDR implementation, but also just in gorgeous set pieces, and just it's so beautiful. Like, there's multiple sequences where you can just look at it and it's like a wallpaper. Like, you can put out a wallpaper on your phone or your TV or like your monitor, it's just whatever. It's just a gorgeous movie. And with saying that before, I honestly would have given this movie a 9.7 or 9.8 because it didn't have picture perfect blacks. But now that I was hyper analyzing it and I get it and I understand what he was going for, I'm gonna give this movie the perfect score. The audio is some of the best I've ever heard. Dialogue is clear. Sound effects sound amazing. The score playing throughout the film. Some of my favorites, The Last Jedi, The Spark, and Peace and Purpose sound absolutely fantastic. Probably the best HDR implementation that I've ever seen. And it's a perfect 4K movie. At first I had some problems with picture perfect blacks, but like I get it. I understand what he was going for with the detail. With saying that, I give this a perfect 10. Make sure to tune in next week. I will be finally reviewing The Rise of Skywalker, and I have a super special giveaway that I'm going to be doing with that, additionally to the digital code that comes with that. So make sure to tune in that. Thank you guys for watching, and hope you guys have a good day.